Welcome to Defeated Tragedy to Triumph. Once again, podcast of all podcasts, show of all shows. This is not an interview, it's a platform. All right, we got Leslie Robinson in the building. Her and I met at mass incarceration for inmates. All right, at an event. It was a beautiful event. Her and I attended. Jeff Deskovic introduced us. That's my guy, that's my brother. Leslie, welcome to Defeated Tragedy to Triumph, the platform. Let them know what you are doing. All right, you are doing some amazing things in the community. Let them know what you've been through. You got this show.
Thank you, Wise. Thank you for giving me this platform.
You got it.
Pretty awesome. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to bring healing and connection to people who maybe have never had it, right? A lot of people have never had the opportunity to talk about what's really going on. Mm-hmm. Is this vibrating too much?
No, you're good.
It's good?
You're good.
Okay.
DJ Hand's going to let you know.
Okay, good. About what's really going on inside of themselves. And the way that we really find sanity is through reflection and through expressing ourselves to other people. And a lot of people lose themselves because they don't have that opportunity ever.
Okay.
And they put on fake personalities, or they put on, they create personalities, and it's a lot of stress, right? They're not in touch with really their feelings or their real thoughts, and they live as if. So I've created these games that get you deep into who you really are,
okay,
and that create a space where everybody's being authentic and vulnerable and open and real, and surprising themselves by really being able to find what's real for them.
And that's these games here. That's in front of us.
Yeah, I have a number of games, but these are the games for people who have been incarcerated, as well as for their families and their communities. So you have a Reentry game that's used in 90 prisons and jails, and with family and friends and community organizations. Urban League just bought a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
The National Urban League, they're going to be buying a lot more. Department of Youth and Community Development, it's used in juvenile facilities as well as adult prisons.
Hold on. We're not going to speed like that, Leslie. We're going to get it for what it is,
okay,
in what you're talking about. So you're saying right now that these games that you created, okay, you invented, all right, and you and Jeff are working on this together, correct? All right, are in 90 prisons around, what, the East Coast, West Coast?
All over. So Rikers Island bought 65 games.
Okay.
They use it in most of their adult programs. I did a training for all the counselor supervisors by doing a 90-minute workshop in maximum security.
Do y'all hear that on Defeated Tragedy to Triumph?
Yes, it was
y'all
beautiful.
Hear that?
It was beautiful.
Amazing.
And I have to
Great
say,
job.
my most memorable moment was the question, have you ever thrown a lifeline to somebody? And we were working with a group of 10 men, and almost every one of them has saved somebody's life.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
That was really powerful.
So now, how do you play this? I know how to play Monopoly, and I know how to play CeeLo, I know how to play Skelzies. All right.
Yeah.
How do you play this?
Yeah, super easy. You got your number cards, 1 to 6. You've got your game card, 6. 1 to 6 here.
Okay.
Okay. So you have questions. You have group activities. The gear. Can you see this?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
There
So the questions with the gear are about incarceration. You have 160 of those, and then you have 200 questions just about life. So you're going from light to deep. You're laughing, you're crying. That's what people say all the time. We went from laughing to crying, back to laughing. You're really opening up. So say I chose card number 1.
Okay.
I take my game card, and I see that my question is with the gear.
Okay.
So that's everybody who's been incarcerated. So inside, everybody will answer. If you're with your family.
Let me make sure they can see this. This is huge. This is big. So this is in what, commissary?
No, it's used by.
No, how do you?
They purchase it from me. So like the New Jersey Department of Corrections bought 120 games.
Oh,
they used it through, and then they give it out to their different prisons. Ohio bought about 160 games.
Okay.
Department of Corrections, the Reentry director, and then they give them out throughout.
Got you.
Yeah, it's also peer facilitated. Like as you'll see, almost anybody can run a group if you're mature and sensitive. You just have to keep the the structure of the group going.
I'm gonna let you continue, but you could also utilize this outside of prison,
With your family.
In your homes. Okay.
Well, so that's a use for it that I really want people to understand, because a lot of people come home and they feel like there's no way to connect again. There's no way to really be understood, which is incredibly painful, right? Like, you're coming home and that's such a deep need for us all as human beings to be understood. So if you play this with your family, you're gonna, if your family is communicative at all, which is most, not all.
Okay.
You're going to have the opportunity to get really close and build that bridge back in
for the
quickly.
For the ones that's got walls built between them. If you play this game, just to loosen the walls up. And okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's also used in visiting rooms with families. Yeah, which is a really good use for it.
Great job, Leslie. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. So this question is, number one, do you feel the time you have done has been enough to repay your debt to society? And if everyone's been incarcerated, everybody will answer that around the circle,
Right.
which is obviously the case inside. And that can take an hour. I mean, it'll bring up all kind of feelings. A lot of people will talk about their whole past and what landed them there, and whether they feel they repaid or not, or ever should have, or that they have a debt owed to them, or whatever it's going to bring up for them, and get to really, really talk through and process stuff that they'd never have the opportunity to otherwise, as well as let their families know what they're holding and carrying and going through, as well as inside or wherever they are. Now, say I had picked number 5, what is worth fighting for? Why? There are questions that you're not usually asked, but they take you to places that you wouldn't usually go, to help you to unravel a lot of different things. Let me just read off a few more.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Hey, DJ Hands, if Breakout don't get rid of this fly, I'm gonna let everybody know you got a fly crib. All right, you got a fly boom boom room. All right, get rid of this fly, okay? All right,
The fly wants to play. Okay, so here's another one. When did you feel most lost? How did you cope? Well, that's not something people are going to be talking about. We all feel lost at times, under any circumstances, but especially the family of flies is here now. But,
no, they're attracted to they're attracted to what you're talking about. They're attracted to what you're talking about.
That's right. We bring them all in. So, and then people can give each other guidance about how they cope when they feel lost.
Okay.
And people can also feel relieved that they're not the only ones who feel that way.
Okay.
Right?
Because they're not.
No.
They're not alone.
No, not alone. But people feel it's a real weakness, and even very highly successful people wouldn't admit they feel lost, and they do often.
Those are the ones are alone. Those are the ones that are alone who really need the game.
We're also alone, unfortunately, so much of the time, right?
What inspired you? What happened in your life that this is huge. Leslie, this is big. All right. And I just need to know how. The same way people ask me, what made you do this?
Yeah.
It was a passion. This is something I had to do. All right.
Yep.
This is something I had to do.
Yeah.
And I just need to know what made you put this together.
So, I was a very sensitive child, and I grew up. My mother had a lot of emotional challenges. She was manic depressive. She had some psychotic episodes. I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? And she really tried her best. I mean, I don't hold anything against her, but there was no ability to communicate. There was there was just no feeling. There's no communication.
Okay.
And same thing with everybody, right? So I had nobody to talk to anybody about. And I became sort of a multiple personality. I just tried to fit in everywhere. There was also violence. There was, a lot of different things going on. By her own admission, she tried to kill me a few times when I was an infant, which I also don't hold. I think it was postpartum depression. Those things weren't talked about in those days. A lot of different things.
How did you learn that?
She told me.
Okay.
She told me, yeah. And then she took her life 35 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So, And so did my best childhood friend, took her life when she was 21, an adult friend when she was 28. And then I worked for 30 years in underserved communities. I worked in emergency shelters for runaway and homeless youth. I supervised residences for homeless young adults. 34 years ago, I did.
Leslie,
Yeah.
I just, because I want everybody to get, you talk fast.
Yeah, I'm
All
sorry.
right?
Let me
And
slow
I love
it down.
I love it. No, and I love it. And I love it. But I want them to get everything you're saying and grasp everything you're saying, because you're saying some real powerful stuff.
Okay, let me slow it down.
And I just want you to just slow it down so they can gravitate and hold on to what you're saying.
I appreciate that.
All right? Thank you.
So I did a 2-year volunteer poetry project at Rikers Island Women's Prison, Rose M. Singer Center. Second volunteer ever allowed in to Rikers Island. They didn't used to let people in from the outside.
Great.
Many years ago. I think Reentry probably wasn't even coined at that time. Right? So every 2 weeks I kicked poetry with 50 to 100 women for 2 hours every other week. So they'd write, and then we'd come and we'd do poetry.
So you're coming in
Yeah.
from the outside, and they allowed this. You got the clearance.
Yeah.
All right. And
It
they
took
wasn't
me-
doing-
it took
and
me
they
a long
wasn't-
time.
And they wasn't doing this for everybody.
I was the second outsider ever allowed into Rikers Island.
Okay.
As a volunteer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Huge.
Yeah.
Great.
And I was just led to do that. Like, I didn't tell many people. It was the days of throw them away. Everybody's bad, throw them away, People didn't understand that.
Make their key out of chocolate and put it in the sun.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. People were not interested in the complexities that people are talking about now. It wasn't even a conversation, unfortunately. And I was in so much pain. I was very able to function really well, but I was in agony all the time. And working with the women was enormously healing. It was like the same level of pain. They were locked up, which is a whole other thing. I don't know that I could have, really survived that.
We're talking about mothers.
Grandmothers?
Yeah.
I mean, 50 to 100 women, and then they, some would still be there week after week. Some would, of course, new people coming in, and I mean, the gratitude was obviously just off the charts, which was incredibly healing and a real gift to me.
Right. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So
good.
that really, really nurtured me. So that's part of what led me to do this as well. But then I also worked as a consultant for foster care for 20 years. And I signed off on over 1,000 adoptions. I was a home finder. I did the adoption reports, sort of like 20, 30-page reports that go to the courts, and then I had to sign off on it. And I was unwanted. And then you see these beautiful foster children, and they're just so beautiful. So that was also incredibly healing.
Hands, where we at with that?
Right.
All right, yeah.
Like to see these beautiful children who, for whatever reason, were given
Okay.
were
They got placed.
either unwanted or their mother couldn't, raise them, or whatever the situation was. But for me, it was really healing,
Gotcha.
So I feel very fortunate that I was able to have these experiences.
These dark clouds are steadily moving. They're moving away from you as these things are happening for you.
I still struggle.
Okay.
Nothing like I used to. I went through decades of therapy.
Okay.
Very intensive therapy.
Okay.
And therapy's hard, and it's painful for a lot of people. It was for me. Part of me didn't ever want me to talk, so there was always huge kickback when I'd leave the office.
Okay.
Everybody has a different experience with therapy, but I think it's important for people to know that it might be really painful and difficult, because I don't know that people know that. Maybe unconsciously they do, and that's why they don't start it.
Right.
And it's not for everybody. For some people, but depending on the depth of the wounds, and depending on how much you had to do internally, that was all twisted up.
So therapy is good?
Therapy's saved my life. It saves a lot of people's lives, right?
Okay.
Right, if you have the right connection with your therapist.
Okay.
But, I just want people to know, like, I would leave there and for years be smashing my head and not even knowing I was doing that. Because there was just so many layers of pain. And, like, I never cut. A lot of people cut.
Okay. Now, when you mean cut?
Self-mutilate themselves.
Okay.
You've heard of cutting?
Inflicting.
Have you heard of
self-pain.
cutting?
Yes, I heard the terminology, but I wanted For the
Yeah,
audience?
yeah.
All right.
So, you know, I don't know how many people do it, but you know, there are people who cut themselves because the internal pain is so great that the cutting relieves it. Like the physical, they actually literally draw blood and really cut, you know, pretty deep, and that relieves their inner pain. Right. Well, I never did that, you know, thank God I was never drawn, you know, to feel the need to do that.
Great.
But, you know, the banging my head and things like that. I think it's important, you know, that we are more open these days about talking about these things, because you look at people and you never in a million years would know that they would ever go through anything like that.
And I must say, you look amazing.
Thank you.
And had you not come up here to tell your story to the platform, all right, we'd have never known. You walk by you in the street, somebody would think something other than what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate, you know, you coming.
Absolutely.
All right, because I didn't know we was this deep with it.
Thank you.
But we're listening.
Thank you. So I've created a number of deep communication games that help people to really get deep with people in their own lives. Be real, feel, deal, and, you know, be real with themselves and with others in their lives, and feel, deal, and heal together with people in their lives. That's the easiest way to, you know, to really put it, and that's what it does. So people who have like never opened up, you're always hearing people say, I've never shared that with anybody. And they might be with a group of strangers. But it's just the way that everybody's answering the same question, everybody's opening up, it lets people feel like they're safe. You speak to your comfort level, you say as much or as little as you want. If you want to pass on something, you pass. There's zero pressure at all, right?
Because when I hear good things, I get excited. And when I get excited, sometimes I forget. But now that I got you right here, how can we purchase this? Because it could be for someone incarcerated, and you said also it could be for society.
Yeah.
So and I know you said directly through you, let them know how to
absolutely
purchase, all right, the game.
Absolutely. So the website is rechargethegame.com. Rechargethegame.com. All my contact is there. If you can't afford it, it's $45. If you can't afford it, you can write to me and we can work something out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what's the information again to get to?
Rechargethegame.com. So it's the spelling here. Whoops.
Go ahead. Take your time.
RECHARGE, thegame.com.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, y'all got that? That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know we gotta speed this up. We got other guests coming. I just need to know, how did you and Jeff's my brother? All right, I met him and it seems like I've known him for life. How did you and Jeff get together? And then I understand y'all are working on this together. And that's a good man to work with. And
Yes,
I
he is.
definitely know that you're a good woman to work with.
Thank you.
So how did y'all put that together?
So Jeff and I met at a criminal justice conference upstate
Okay.
that Jeff was scheduled to speak at, and they messed up the schedule.
Things
And I don't think at this point in his life Jeff would be upset about it, but he got very upset. This was years ago. Like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And he left. It was pouring rain out, and he was very upset, and I went running after him, and we started hugging in the pouring rain.
That rain,
the rain, you know what rain can do.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So,
that sexy rain. Okay.
That
sounds like a movie. That sounds like a movie.
No, but it wasn't even that. It was just because, I felt what he was feeling, and yeah, so we bonded over that. I already had the prototypes of the game, showed it to Jeff. Jeff will talk more about it, but he played it with his family. Yeah, and then Jeff invested. So that I could get the games manufactured on a much larger scale and start getting them out there.
Hey, Jeff, hey, Leslie, is there any room for me?
Yes.
I got a little bit of money. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Come on,
All right.
come on.
Because this is going to blow up. This is huge. All right, and
So
it's
I want
positive.
to add something.
Talk to me.
Yeah. So I want to create the credible healers movement. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet. Any thoughts anybody has, where we pay stipends. I get grant money to pay stipends to people coming out of prison and jail to run groups in the projects and the communities and programs, even sidewalk therapy with families, give them away. and pay them when they come out and they have no money to be credible healers, not messengers, healers, and run these groups
And
throughout
remember,
the United States.
If you remember what I said to you, I said, I don't talk on the curb. I don't talk on the side. I said, if you need me to go up in these projects
That's right.
with you,
That's right.
all right, I'm
Okay.
good. I'm
Okay.
solid. I'm solid.
Okay, we're
anyway.
going to do it.
All right, I'm good
Okay.
on any
Are we
Martin
gonna do
Luther. I'm good on any Martin Luther.
Okay.
And if you need me to walk you through it and knock on some doors, I'm here for you.
Okay.
All right, because I
Okay.
appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Leslie. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope to have you back. We're gonna shorten it up. I hope you have you back. Is there anything you want to add? Any .coms? Any information you want to get them? All right, we pretty much good.
Yeah. We're good. We're good. I
All
want to
right.
thank you all for listening and bless you all.
All right, y'all don't forget. All right, recharge at what?
Thegame.com.
RechargeTheGame.com right here. Defeated tragedy to triumph. Remember what I said. This is a platform. It's not no interview. Let everybody know what you're doing. All right, something constructive, something positive. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the hood. Tune in, subscribe. 6 p.m. Sundays. All right, press subscribe. Come on now. Press subscribe. Tune
Press
in
subscribe.
6 p.m. All right, Leslie Robinson. Thank you
Thank
for coming
you.
through. All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. DJ